Why are we here? It's because we are
preparing outstanding warriors with wisdom to overcome and win.
Good morning, New Warriors. I'm Aurelia.
I'm Joanna.
And welcome to Powwow. Today's birthdays are Cody Ritter,
Esther Omende,
James Hankins,
Isaiah Stovall,
Jacob Johnston,
Toby Cornelison,
and Ian Garman. Accolade winners are Sam Geyer for fixing things up on campus,
Ryan Everhart for assembling bookcases for Mrs. Myron,
Axel Luna and Rebecca Jones for cleaning up the clay after art class.
and now welcome our speaker for the week, Mr. Bryant.
Good morning, I'm Mr. Bryant, and I'm here for today's powwow. And I'm speaking on a term that I think a lot of us have heard, and some of us think that they practice, but many times we don't understand it, so how do we practice it correctly? Well, that term and that word is integrity. It's something that we're not born with. We're not born with integrity. It's something that we learn. It's something that we have, that we think about. It's something that we have in our heart. Okay, we learn it, and then we practice that, and it becomes stronger, and it becomes part of us. Okay, but you can't do that unless you understand what integrity is. Integrity kind of goes along with being honorable. Probably don't know, everybody understands having honor. Honor meaning you're an honorable person, that you maintain high standards, you're trustworthy, that you are reliable, upright, but you're a person of honor. Well, as a person of honor, you have integrity, and integrity is an honorable trait to have. It is a trait. So what is this thing called integrity? Well, I've got a slideshow that we'll go through here shortly, but just to kind of set the tone, we are going to look at what is the definition. Well, the definition of integrity is the quality of being honest, having strong moral principles, and character. Okay, so it's a character trait. You set a standard, and then it's a trait that you carry on, and it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. Okay, and it really is. It starts in the mind, but then it goes to the heart, and it's where you are. It's who you are as a person of integrity. You're an honorable person, someone who's upright, who wants to do things right, and always do those things right, so that it's not just your actions that are being seen, but it's actions behind the scenes. Okay, that make it very strong. All right, integrity. This is what we want to do as a character trait. And I put down a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., which I really is one of my heroes. Not the only one, but one of them. And he said this: the time is always right to do the right thing. And so doing the right thing is having integrity. And so that is what we're talking about today. So what is integrity? Well, as we go to the next one here, here's some synonyms for integrity: honesty, being an honest person, being truthful, not lying, not telling half lies or white lies, but being truthful in everything you do. Honorable person, being reliable. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. You don't say, well, I'm going to go do this, or I'm not going to do that. But if you're not going to do it, you just say, I can't do it, and that's it. So people understand you're a reliable person. If you say, if your word is, if you give your word to do something, you're going to keep it. Uprightness, meaning you're always above you're the cream at the top of the cup. And then trustworthy, you're always trustworthy. You can be trusted in everything you do. Here's our definition again of integrity. It's really a moral compass. That's what we're talking about. When we look over here, we see this compass, and that's what it is. It's a moral compass. Integrity, the quality of being honest, having strong moral principles and character. It's a character trait. personal choice to consistently hold oneself to high standards. And then in ethics, okay, you've heard of being ethical. Ethics are something that we hold higher than even sometimes even higher than the law, the ethics of something. Integrity is regarded as honesty, truthfulness, and accuracy of one's actions. So we're always doing things ethically right. Not ethically wrong, but ethically right. And that's that moral compass that we look over here. C.S. Lewis says it probably the best. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. So you're doing the right thing without anybody knowing about it, but you. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. And when you do it right and no one's looking, that's integrity. Now we're going to break integrity down into 3 areas, and then we'll pop those up here in a second. But integrity is choosing courage over comfort. Sometimes it's hard to be that person who stands up for what's right. And when you do, you have that courage, but there's always something that possibly that pops up at the end, and there's always to your actions you have consequences. And so choosing courage has its consequences when you're talking about integrity. What is right over what is fun, easy, fast, or easy? It's so easy to go out. I'll put easy, but it's so easy to go out and do something halfway, or do something so quickly that it's going to fall apart later on. You do what is right over what is fun, fast, or easy. That means you stick with it until it's done correctly. And then to practice our values rather than simply profess them. I kind of put this down to walk the walk. You're not just talking the talk, because anybody can do that, but you're walking the walk. Courage over comfort. Well, let's look at that. You're standing up for your principles, okay? Even if no one stands with you. And when we talk about courage over comfort, we're talking about perseverance. You're going the distance, stay the course, even when it's tough. You're absolutely sticking with it. So you're standing up for your principles, even if no one comes and stands with you. And that's a hard thing to do many times, because that's very courageous to stand up. You may have no one that's going to stand with you, but you're doing the right thing. You do the right thing when everyone around you is doing the wrong thing. And that's, again, another hard thing. You're not just going along with the crowd, you're doing what is right. And if you make a promise and it becomes harder to fulfill than you imagine, you still keep your promise. I mean, you don't break your promise just because it's become harder. You keep going and you keep that promise. And you fulfill the task. And then follow a task through to its completion, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. You know, it's tough. You know, you've heard that, when it's harder, then the tough move and get going even harder at that. So follow a task through to its completion, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. Complete a task the right way the first time. When accomplishing a task, okay, here's the thing. You're doing what's right. You want to do the task the right way the first time. That's kind of that segue from the last subject area or breakdown that we talked about with integrity. When accomplishing a task, you don't cut corners. You're not going to take shortcuts. You're not going to cheat. And cheating is so easy. And I can tell you this, it's so easy in our classrooms to just look at somebody else's paper, to just kind of look over at their notes, or just kind of keep an eye on their test to see what they answered, because you know they're smarter than you are, or at least you think so. That's cheating, and basically that is hurting yourself. It's not hurting the person you're cheating off of; it's hurting yourself, because you're not, what you've done is you've compromised, and that is not what you want to do with integrity. If you make a mistake or do something wrong, take responsibility and admit your mistake on doing it. It's just so important that you admit to your mistakes and your wrongdoing. If you mess up, admit it. It's better to admit it and be truthful than it is to try to hold on and fight it and know full well that you're wrong. And you're only as strong as your weakest link. Now, I put the sailboat over here because when you're sailing, and that's one of the things I like to do, when you're sailing with a team, a group, a team of sailors. They all have their own responsibilities. They all have their own tasks. But in order to compete and they're racing right here, these racing yachts, they are racing to win a cup. They're racing to win. But the only way you can win is if you all work together. And you're only as strong as that weakest person on your team. So you want to strengthen that person on your team. And so how to do that? Well, that's integrity. You want to help those people be the best they can be. And when you do, then everyone becomes the best they can be. So we have to practice this character trait all the time. And we do this by walking, not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. You've got to get out there and know that integrity is something that you don't put on the back burner, that it is something that you demonstrate and emulate every day of your life. It takes discipline and practice to accomplish greatness. And even for sports teams, when we talk about sports teams, they go out, they take the discipline to go out and practice every day, and then they go to practice for the game. Well, it takes discipline and practice to accomplish greatness. And in the case of integrity, this is something that you just have to have the discipline to go and really, really practice what you preach, so to speak. Now, it's a personal choice, so it's up to you to do this consistently and steadfastly, and hold yourself to high standards. When you set that standard high, you've got to be willing to continue to keep it high. Because once you lower that standard, then that's that compromise that I talked about a little bit earlier. Don't want to compromise. You want to press forward into greatness. And greatness from integrity means doing things when nobody else sees them, doing the right thing when nobody else sees them. And you're not doing it just to toot your horn or get somebody to pat you on the back, but you're doing it because it's the right thing to do. Honor, trust, and integrity are built on rock solid character values. So really, they're not separate. You can't be honorable and have no integrity. You can't have integrity and not be honorable. You can't be trustworthy, okay, and have you can't be trustworthy and have no integrity. All of these things fit together. In order to be honorable and trustworthy, then you have to have integrity, okay? And these are the character traits that are the linchpin for our values. The warrior pride. You can look at these, and everybody knows this, and everybody's memorized these, but P is for prepared and R, respectful. But look at the I. The I is in the middle. You can be prepared, respectful, you can be dependable, and have etiquette, but if no integrity is there, there's no pride. It's the foundation of what we carry forward as Newman warriors. And integrity is right in the middle. So you've got to have that bolstered up and understand that that's the key to everything. So let me just close today by just throwing this out to you. I talked to you a little bit about what we have to do to have that integrity. And the biggest part is we are what we repeatedly do. So if you repeatedly and consistently practice integrity, that you have integrity in your character, then it becomes a habit, it's a habit that we continue to have, and it gets strong and stronger. So integrity is not an act. It's not a single act. It's not 10 acts. It's a habit. It's something that we do naturally, and it's something that we want to do naturally. So I'll leave you with this. Walk the walk. Don't talk the talk, but walk the walk. Be people, be students, be men and women of integrity. That's all I have today. You guys have a great day, and look forward to seeing you in the hallways. Bye.
Hey guys, so if you're watching this on Tuesday, November 3rd, it is election day. And so obviously this election this year is a little bit more one of the more contentious ones that we've had in recent history. There's some anxiety kind of around it, and there's a tough choice that those of you that can vote today, have already voted, have to make. So we have three of our students here, juniors and seniors. We have Aurelia, we have Joanna, and we have Luke. And we want to kind of get the powwow panels going again. So I brought them in to ask them a couple of questions in regard to the election and just the times that we're in right now. So first question I wanted to ask them is, if you could vote today, are any of you able to vote, or any of you 18 at the time of the election? So if you were able to vote today, what would be some of the issues, or what would be an issue that would be particularly dear to your heart that would affect who you would vote for in this election? So let's start with Aurelia.
Racial inequality, because I don't think you should judge someone for how they look. You need to know how they are as a person.
Joanna, what about you?
My main issue would be immigration policies, because that's just dear to my family. We're a family of immigrants, and I've just seen how hard the struggle is to get to that point.
And Luke, what about you?
Something that's always struck my heart about the United States is the economy and how it's completely different than a lot of other places in general. And I just feel like we need to keep that up and make it better.
So all three of the topics that they talked about, well, a couple of the ones that we mentioned in earlier discussion is about the differences between the parties, how much antagonism there is between them. We mentioned, of course, coronavirus. That's been a big one this year. Obviously, that has dominated the discussion, or at least partially dominated the discussion in 2020. So all three of those issues that you brought up are very intense topics, and all of them could get their own panel discussing them in detail. But it does exemplify how, even though you may not be of the age to make the voting decision yet, how it's going to affect you. Whoever is chosen in this election is going to have an impact on the laws and the policies that affect you in this country for the following years. And because it is such a divisive election, regardless of whoever wins, especially focusing on the presidential, there's going to be people who agree with that choice, and there's going to be people who are unhappy with that choice. But what do we do, in your opinion, as a nation as we go forward, trying to work out the conversations that are going to happen and the situations that are going to happen following this election tomorrow? Because anxiety is one thing that people are dealing with. And so how do we get away from that and move forward positively?
Well, I think you just need to respect what everyone believes in, and don't judge them. Even if you don't agree with it, it's not right to be rude to someone for not believing in what you do.
Joanna, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, kind of adding on to Aurelia's point, we all want to be right in one way. I think that's what kind of drives the division. So we need to realize that there's not going to be one side is always right and another side is always wrong. We have to accept each other's opinions, and remember that we're all living in the same country, and everything affects every single one of us.
For me, at least, we all live on planet Earth, and so we need to all coexist together. Not always in harmony, obviously, because that's impossible, but whenever, not to argue as much as we do usually.
The key word that was mentioned in our pre-discussion was basically just respect and hearing the other person out. You may not agree with everything that they've said, but you can still respect that they are an individual, and that respect is really the only way that we're going to move forward. So for any of you that are seniors and you're still trying to struggle with making the choice, Make that choice today. Do your best to go to that ballot and choose someone that you feel best represents the things that you agree with. And as a nation, y'all are our future. You're the next round of officials and people that be in the workforce and people that are going to be making that next round of among those are going to be making that next round of decisions. So, I think you've expressed the idea we got to work together regardless of what happens tomorrow. So don't let fear and anxiety be what dominates the day tomorrow. Let it be the celebration that we do have that option to make that choice, that either we have that ability or you will in a couple of years, and that whatever the choice that the nation makes tomorrow, that we're going to move forward with it, move forward in support of each other, and move forward in some level of unity, because we can still be unified as a nation even if we're not unified on that final decision, and just basically support each other as we move forward. Thank you for your time, guys. Look forward to having more of you as part of the powwow panels.
The announcements for this week are progress reports on Thursday, November 5th.
Senior portrait retakes will be Monday, November 9th.
Veterans Day program on Wednesday, November 11th, and there will be Still City Pops for $4.
Now join us for a school song.
May God bless our school as we march to our tomorrows and stand tall today with love, faith, and hope. We rise to build our nation with wisdom, stature, and favor. May God bless our school today.